Good morning, everybody. We are live with the International 10. It is time. It's been over 2 years since we crowned our previous world champion, and it's about time we have our next champion crowned very, very soon. Just a few days of Dota 2, a lot of days of Dota 2. You're gonna love it. We're gonna love it. We're gonna start things off with the group stages, and you are watching the multicast, which means you're on the right place to know everything there is to know about all the matches, all the games, all the time. And of course, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm joined by none other than Insania. Welcome. Jenkins, hello as well. And Tsunami, good morning. How are you doing?
I feel like it's not even real yet. I know.
It's not.
It's I've been hurt so many times. You know, I wanted so many internationals last year. It was quiet, and then Sweden, quiet. I think I'm ready to get hyped up. I think it's happening.
You're letting yourself feel
Just
it?
a little bit. I'm feeling the tension.
Yeah, you feeling it, Jenkins?
I'm feeling it. You know, it's been 2 long years. The biggest pressure about this tournament, at least for me, is not the money that's on the line. That's a lot of the time what it is, and the prestige. It's that it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years with no TI. It's like this almost represents going back to normal to a degree, which is just huge. It's bigger than the money and the prestige to me.
That is absolutely true. And Insania, I know you'd rather be somewhere else in one of the hotels playing probably, but I'm super happy to have you joining us because we love to pick your brain on everything. And I want to actually hear from you, like, how are you experiencing this time right now that TI is back and that it is actually happening?
I mean, it's great. Like you said, I wish I was playing, but unfortunately I'm not. And I think it's super cool to have this opportunity and come here and talk about Dota. So yeah, I'm just excited to do it. It's a new experience and it's fun to do.
And you've been in this situation where the players are right now, you know, they're joining the lobby, it's game time.
Yeah.
What's going through their heads right now? How are they feeling?
I think this morning is pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players don't really get nervous until the moment of.
Yeah.
And when you wake up or when you're going to go to sleep, I think a lot of people feel it. And just to lead up, like everything that's happening this morning, I know it's like pretty nervous. You're trying to think everything through. You're probably overthinking a lot of things that you shouldn't be.
Did you have any rituals?
No.
Because this is where players have rituals, right?
Yeah, I don't really have anything specific.
You don't listen to a hype up song or anything?
Okay, well, you can throw somebody under the bus at least and say, you know somebody, one of your teammates has a ritual, right?
We're not really ritual type players.
Okay.
I think like most of us, it's just like the regular, you know, wake up, drink your energy drink of choice, and then
That's a ritual.
get ready to play.
That's something.
I have a ritual.
Tell me.
When group stages are happening and I'm not working, I'll have my ritual of making sure that all monitors that I can find are set up with a game somewhere. And if I have to, I'll split screen it, but preferably not. And I'll make sure I'll watch the games all day long. And I know that there are so many of you out there that are doing the exact same thing, and I would love to hear from you. Make sure that during this event, we know there's no crowd, but you're going to be with us the whole way through. Virtually, but with us nonetheless. Make sure you use hashtag TI10 on all your social media platforms, and we'll be able to keep in touch with you and see what you're up to and see what your rituals are for watching. I know that there's going to be a lot of people having set up a screen or several screens to make sure they are catching every little bit of the action, because that's going to be a challenge. There's 40 games played today, Tsunami. It is madness.
But we help the challenge be simplified a little bit here.
Absolutely.
We're gonna try our best.
We're gonna try our best.
We're gonna try.
Because this is the multicast.
Yes.
Of course. We will take you to all of. We'll take a world tour around stream A, B, C, D. 40 games. How many games to? So 4 days of group
40
stage.
today.
40 today.
40 games today.
40 games today.
20 series. 40 games tomorrow, 20 series. 40 games.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. And it's especially exciting, I feel like, the first day, Jenkins, because we haven't seen these teams in forever. And we don't really know what the state of things are right now. The state of Dota, the state of the teams, the state of everything.
It's true. It's true. You know, not to go too crazy technical or anything, but the stacking nerf for me it was a big question when I was doing research. I was looking at a lot of these teams, and they haven't played in 30 days, and it's like they just sit on their side of the map and exclusively stack. You know, it's like they're playing and where like they have this Fort Knox and that's all that they protect, and then there are other teams that weren't doing that, and the question is like, Are those teams going to keep the same meta and be
Yeah.
very successful? Are the teams that were stacking before, are they going to adapt? Are they going to be punished because they have to adapt quickly over a period of only a month? Are they going to have to learn during the group stage? Or is everything just going to completely change during the group stage and nobody's stacking, we don't know what the meta is?
My money is on the last one. Everything's going to change during the group stage. Group stage is going to be madness, especially because the two groups we have are both looking very, 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 very stacked. We've got two groups of 9 teams, and of each group, the top 4 will move forward to the upper bracket, with the 4 below that going through to the lower bracket. And yes, your math is correct, one team will be left out, because that team will get eliminated in the group stages alone. There is already that pressure starting today. Nobody is 100% safe. Insania, is there any group in particular you are most excited about?
I think both groups are pretty even.
Yeah.
Like if you look at them, I don't think like one group really stands out as a group of death or anything. So I think it's going to be fun to watch both of them. I think today's series, I'm really excited about OG Alliance. European Dota for me is, of course, it's going to be a bit special, but
Sure.
I think that series I'm really looking forward to watching. I think it's going to be really, really hype. I think Quincy Crew against LGD.
Yeah, I have
That one's
that one
going to be
as
really
my
good
favorite.
too. Yeah. I was talking to Yawar yesterday, and he seemed very confident, and I think like they always show up in groups.
Yeah.
They're always strong in TI groups, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do really, really well against LGD and maybe like surprise a couple of people at home.
Yeah, and Jack also seemed very confident. He had this grin on his face as if he was eating something. Of course, everybody knows what I'm referring to. And he was very confident as well. He said they've been scrimming a lot. Why are you laughing?
You want to use his wording?
No, I'm not going to use the wording.
Is there a specific quote that you would like to use?
Sure, but not on TI panel. Well, but he said that they've been scrimming a lot of Chinese teams.
Yep.
He said that I could reveal that information. I'm not leaking, okay? He seemed confident. But it's hard to tell with Jack though. So
It's hard to tell with North America in general.
it really is.
The jury's
yeah.
still out.
It's
Yeah.
tough.
I mean, it's going to be, the group stages alone are going to be so telling as to, obviously everybody has their opinions on which region is strongest, but TI groups is where it really gets fleshed out. China is still the strongest region, which is what was the case during the DPC season. How is North America going to do? How South America going to do? Every region, I'm very curious to hear about and to see playing. Of course, you guys are all aware that there has been some news coming out of Romania regarding Aster and IG. Both of those teams have had positive COVID cases, so there's been a little bit of a change in what is possible for them, but they will still be able to compete at TI10 here. And they will play the entire thing from their hotel rooms, and they will be able to continue being in the tournament. For Aster, it will mean that one of their players, White Album, is unfortunately not able to play yet. Might change over the next few days, of course. But they will play with a stand-in as well. But do note that everything has been taken care of to make sure that the competitive integrity stays the way it should. And I'm very excited. Our first game is actually also going to be Aster, and we are also going to see them play up against EG, which, I mean, do we want to do this? Do we want to go over favorites real quick? Because, again, there's not that much data, and everybody's just saying, okay, EG, as PSG, LGD, there's the three-peat. Is there going to be a three-peat?
I went with Secret, actually.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that this is a rare situation that Secret kind of sucks before TI,
Yeah.
which never happens. But whenever they're good before TI, they always lose. So maybe change the dynamic a little bit. Maybe
it's-
Puppy comes in, number 2.
Yeah, it's interesting because like normally they'd always dominate the entire DPC, and now they've been pretty invisible the last couple of months. I don't think they played any of the ESLs or
They did not.
Yeah,
the smaller tournaments.
they've been
they
under the
didn't.
radar.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
I
what-
believe in the three-peat though. I think OG can do it.
Really?
Yeah, I think they have a solid chance at doing it. I think their mental game is just really, really strong.
Yes.
That is why I think that I'm going to pick 2 teams, which I know is lame, but I think that T1 is the type of team that under pressure, they play extremely well, and you can never, ever count them out. They make ludicrous decisions when they're in high-pressure situations. But then also EG, who now has Dr. K
Yes.
as their coach, as their mental coach, I think EG's definitely the type of team that probably needs it. But even without it, second place at 2 majors is no small feat.
There's definitely no small feat. We can take a look at the schedule today. I know there's going to be a lot of slides coming your way with a lot of games. As I said, there's 20 series here today, and if you don't memorize everything, that's okay as well. You can just go to dota2.com/esports to find all the information that you need. But today on Stream A, we're going to kick things off with EG Aster. Of course, at the end of the day, I think personally EG IG will be super exciting as well. With that being said, so many games are super exciting, and we already mentioned PSG LTD versus Quincy Crew for Stream B Tsunami. That's a very exciting one, right?
Yeah, I think historically Quincy at all the lands has looked good against the American regions, North and South, but against international opponents looks dicey. And everyone wants to know, is LGD still the premier pick to win this entire TI?
Yeah. And then on Stream C, we'll have a lot of games as well. I am also curious to see Undying play. This is actually their first performance on LAN. They came a solid third throughout the whole DPC season, and unfortunately for them, being from the NA region, it meant that they just weren't gonna go to any of the majors. So I'm very curious to see how they do here with their first LAN as a squad. And on Stream D then, last but definitely not least, I know Insania, OG Alliance to kick the day off. It is, I mean, you can make a case for every series being good. I'm looking for a Secret Beast Coast. That's going to be hype. EGT1.
How do
Only
you
good
watch it
teams
all?
here.
How do you
TI,
watch
right?
it all? I mean, I'm very glad that everybody that's tuning in right now knows, okay, you know what? We're going to make sure we're going to swap between all the streams and make sure you're catching all the action, because there's no way if you have 4 screens, you know exactly where to go. Everything is top tier today, Jenkins.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing T1 play. Like I said, they're one of my favorite picks in terms of on LAN, and I think in an interview at some point, might have been DPC or something like that, or one of the tournaments that was online but not on LAN. They actually said like being together is really important for them, and that the fact that they can like hype each other up is super important. And I think it's really obvious too when you watch them play. I remember there was this one play where they lost 23 Savage, who was like way higher in net worth than anybody in the game. I believe this was against an Alliance, and they smoked without him, 4-man smoke, and then wiped Alliance in front of the Roche pit. And it's like the cojones that you need to have in order to lose your carry, who is the highest net worth in the entire game, and then still smoke. I mean, that is seriously impressive. So I think T1 LGD was on there, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And I mean, every series is a blockbuster here. You speaking of Alliance, I mean, you're saying, okay, T1, you know, they really step it up when they come to LAN and they feel each other's energy and it just takes them to the next level, right? We've got 2 teams that we have seen perform at a major where that seems to have the opposite effect, Tsunami? VP and Alliance?
VP have not had a coach until
now. Yes, true.
So I give them the benefit of the doubt a lot of the times, and I think that intra-regionally you're very comfortable. Alliance and VP, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, they're in the zone. But then you put them out, Alliance won 0 international opponents. In the ESLs that they played, they didn't beat anyone outside of Europe, and throughout obviously their own DPC, just played Europe. Same thing with VP. I think they had a few more international victories, but still, it's not the expectation that we had for someone who they won 31. No, they played 31 games in their DPC. They only lost 3 out of both seasons, which is an amazing win rate. But I don't know what happens when you put them on LAN.
Yeah, VP was really interesting, because I remember right after the major, so they got knocked out of the major like first round, right? Even though they were seeded into the upper bracket. And then right after the major, ESL comes on and they ended up winning ESL, beating T1, who performed extremely well at the major. And so it's like, what is going on with this team?
We don't know. It's going to be very exciting to see how they have prepared and how the training has gone, because we had these 2 extra months. Very curious how teams have dealt with that. And our first series, we're going to have Aster taking on Evil Geniuses. And before we dive straight into the Dota, Insania, I want to quickly hear from you. Like, okay, there's going to be people that just tune in for TI. Hello, love you, thank you, welcome back. A lot has changed since 2 years ago in the world of Dota 2. Neutral items? Scepters, how are you going to explain those?
It'll be a fun experience. We'll just have to take them one at a time and try to talk about them when they come up.
Sure, oh, yeah, that's probably the best way. Otherwise, information overload, absolutely. First game of the day, Evil Geniuses taking on Aster. We're just going to start the normal way. We're just going to ease you into it. So this will be our starting series, of course, as said. There's a stream A, there's a stream B, there's a stream C and D. You'll be able to follow your favorite team regardless, but we are jumping into EG versus Aster, and I'm just really curious, Insania, how do you feel Aster will perform with the stand-in?
I think the same thing you said about VPN Alliance could be said about Aster too,
Yeah.
right? They've been really, really strong in China, but then when they come to the LAN events, they don't look quite as dominant as they do in their own region. So I think with a stand-in on top of that, they're playing EG, who for me personally seem like one of the favorites coming into this. And I think it's been a lot of patches leading up to this event, more than usual.
Yeah.
I
think EG are notorious for like, they always figure it out really, really fast. I think it's one of our TZ's like high quality traits. He's just really good at figuring out patches. So I think they're in for a pretty tough opponent here, starting off.
I don't think there's ever been a hero added to captain's mode with such minimal data on them.
Oh, that's
Dawnbreaker
true. Yeah.
is in the game. Insania, what do you think? Is she a support? Is she an offlane? Is she a core?
I mean, I've mainly seen it as a 5 or a 4. And I mean, I don't think anybody wants to lane against that hero. That's primarily like the really, really early game
It's so
is really
annoying.
strong.
It's so annoying.
So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see it quite a bit in the group stage. I don't know if it's going to pan out for the entire event, but I think you're going to catch a lot of people off guard who aren't used to playing against it. So
Yeah, but surely, I mean, the two months of extra practice before TI, I almost feel like that would be a detriment. You get into your own head, Jenkins, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but I also feel like people are spamming a lot of these heroes in pubs, and I don't really see much changing for at least in terms of like Dawnbreaker. I don't see much changing in terms of like the general build and what people are doing. So I feel like teams will be decently used to it, but yeah, I think laning is the biggest pain in the ass for her. But the build is like generally the same. Everybody's just going Holy Lock at every game.
yeah, I think it's primarily like a heal-based build where you play around your ulti. I really like the Aghanim Scepter. I think it's really, really strong.
I think it's core.
Yeah, support. If you can get
No,
to
no,
it.
no. Is it
Oh,
core
it's a
on
core
her?
item?
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I haven't seen the hero too much. I'm not like, I don't know exactly what the perfect build for her is, but I do think the Aghanim Scepter is very, very strong. And it's 60% evasion, which
Yeah.
is one of those things that you don't really notice it when you're playing against it, but just 60% less physical damage overall, so.
Yeah. And we talk about EG Aster, maybe not the most even playing field that they're gonna open the day with. How do you feel the playing field is in general for this the TI compared to others, Jenkins?
You know, for every TI, I always feel like the meta shifts so quickly because of the human emotion involved with the stakes being so high. Like we talked about money, prestige, with the whole COVID era and 2 years waiting for this, finally people get to play again. So basically, I think that the team that thrives in chaos will do the best. And so I couldn't even predict what team that is. I would like to say it's a team that has like a mental coach.
Yeah.
So I think having Dr. K is like really important for EG. I think that an actual argument for Aster is that there's a lot of stuff that you can see that they do differently online versus whenever they're playing on LAN, which I know that there's not that much data of them actually playing on LAN because they've been knocked out. They'll do things like poking and then backing off when people TP and stuff like that, which is a very mental thing to do in Dota because in order to not commit, you have to really be comfortable with your own emotions and your teammates' emotions. So I think it's a mental game. I think it's who's gonna do well is who can thrive in the most chaos, and it's so hard to say who that's gonna be because of the strange circumstances with this TI. There's lots of mental coaches. It's kind of on LAN, it's kind of not. It's a little weird.
Yeah, and it's why you think that the three-peat is very much possible, right? Because it's the mental game for OG that they have won twice already.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it. And I think there's something that, to your point about chaos, I think like when you look at PSG LGD throughout the year, they've proven that they can win games where they're losing, they can win games where they're looking strong. And I think that's a very, very good sign for a team that you want to see do well at TI, because you're going to run into some games that are going to be hard. And it's not just going to be like smooth sailing, stomping all your way to the grand finals. I don't think we've had that like almost since TI3.
Yeah.
Has any team that has been the favorite to win TI ever won TI other than potentially Alliance?
I'd say Wings.
I think Wings, yeah.
TI6.
Yeah. Were they? But they were not really the finals for a lot of people going in, though. Once the tournament started, yes, they looked like the best.
From my memory, the DPC ended, and then they were like pretty good. And
Yeah.
then like summits happened, and some other small non-DPC tournaments happened. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, these Wings guys!" though."
Yeah.
And 2 of them are on LGD, so it's a pretty good pedigree to have.
Yes.
I feel like every year VP is the favorites to win TI. Like that's,
Yeah,
that's at
also
least
true.
in like
Apart
the
from
previous
this, I would
years.
say this year. I mean,
Other
they
than
haven't,
this year,
they
other than
haven't
this year.
performed online. One thing, a little nugget of information regarding Virtus Pro, because yes, they are playing with a coach, playing as and have a coach to back them up as well. But one thing that they also changed is that Virtus Pro, the organization, has hired a former basketball professional
Oh, that's cool.
to help them
Basketball
with this.
professional player?
I think player.
Okay.
To help them with discipline in terms of training, because obviously before they were boot camping for a lot of their DPC season, and their region they crushed their region. It wasn't close.
Not even close. Yeah,
Like-
both seasons.
Both seasons, first place, easy breezy. Maybe dropped 1 game in total or something stupid like that. But they maybe got a little too lax, so now they have help, and we spoke at some point to DM about that, their offlane player, and he's like, yeah, he's helping us with discipline to make sure, we wake up certain time to train properly. Because at some point, if you're cruising through everything, you don't need that, right? You don't need that practice, and now
They
there's,
need
like,
it. They really need it.
They're also very, very young.
They
are,
guys
yeah.
Also, so
Dude.
they didn't go through college and stuff like that, have to wake up for classes, like
Right.
anything like that. They just rolled up, started kicking ass at Dota. They maybe need a little bit of structure.
Dude,
Yeah.
and it is so obvious in their playstyle too. It's like that team more than any other team. If one of their cores is doing well, they will just build Chad items like offlane, like Desolator Mars or something like that, and then everybody plays around them as if they're the carry. Like
Yeah.
that team is the closest thing to a pub stack that you can find, like a very organized pub stack. And I know it seems insane, but like they're like the individually highest skilled team where they just play around the one guy that's popping off in the game.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams don't really do that.
That's a hallmark of the Eastern European region, but also the South American region, which we have never had 3 South American teams
Correct.
at a TI. We've had 1 at most, and that's just been for like the last few TIs.
Yeah.
So the regional representation is way more even. So while Eastern Europe was usually known for being the pub star unstructured one, now South America kind of conversely is getting more structure with the DPC and coming into this TI extremely strong. So both those regions excite me quite a bit.
Yeah, it's also one of the reasons why we have the most newcomers at TI ever, because we got a lot of people that weren't here, and also Europe underperforming a little bit. Do you feel like that's gonna go away, like OG Alliance Secret? You think they're all 3 gonna do well and carry the European region torch proper?
So I was looking at the groups when they first announced them, and I was trying to think to myself, like, okay, which teams do I think are going to go upper bracket?
Yeah.
And I have both OG and Alliance, both OG and Secret going upper bracket, I think.
Okay.
And I think Alliance is a contender, but I don't have them as like super clearly going upper bracket. But I think we'll find out. I don't think Europe is as weak as they were a couple of months ago. I think now we've adapted to the patch a bit more, and having China play European pubs for a while,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely helped.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's been quite a lot of tournaments. to
And I
just get
love
people
the
caught up.
pubs.
The pubs
Yeah.
have been insane. That's like a huge question to me, actually, is how has this, for a team like Undying or SG or something, like coming from like NA pubs to playing with literally all of the best players from every region. It's like instead of your guys running down mid, you actually have mid laners in the pubs rather than on US East. So it's like how will that change these teams that are kind of expected to underperform? It's like, well, everybody's on the same playing field now for at least a month, and especially because of COVID, people are
Yeah.
flying in so much earlier to practice.
Yeah, so the pubs have been madness for a while. There's nothing to say. It's still the top tier, right? The best.
I believe he's still rank 1.
I think
Yeah.
GPK is rank 1. I think it's GPK, nothing to say, and then CCNC.
Oh, is that how it is?
Did it change?
They're like they're interchanging
yeah.
depending on
Very
the day,
close,
yeah.
yeah.
Depending on if Quinn is like breaking his items and avoid listing ogres. That was a great Reddit clip. by
Could
the
we
way.
get maybe not a mid laner as number 1 at some point, or is that never going to happen?
Oh yeah.
It
No,
happens. I think it's
it does
really, really
happen.
patch dependent. Like
Really?
you'll see
Yeah.
depending on patches, especially when it comes to pub games, certain roles tend to have like a bit of an edge. Right now playing 5 is great because safe lane is very strong.
I saw
So-
you've been breaking your own MMR records recently,
Right.
so
So no, but different roles are like
Why
differently
is
strong.
5 so strong? Because even I noticed it, and I'm a pleb.
So I think it's mainly to do with the way that the roles function. Like right now, the 5 is like a pretty lane dominant support most of the time. And when you win your lanes, you tend to set yourself up to have a good game for your carry, and you shut down their tempo. So the game is off to a good start, I think. And in the current patch, that means a lot. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, that's a big difference from, for example, previous TI, where the emphasis was very much on the position 4s.
Yeah, I think 5s this year are going to very much stand out. Like I think you have someone like EG Fly. He's looked really, really good. I've been watching a lot of his games, and I think he's going to perform really, really well, and he's going to be a standout 5. I'm confident in that. And I think teams that have strong, like mechanically talented 5 players are really going to stand out.
What's the worst role for
at the moment
for climbing, for having an impact in the game? I mean, I have a theory, but I'm curious what you guys think.
I think position 4 is the hardest right now.
Really?
Because you're a support and you get to go up against these very strong 5s. That's my feeling.
Okay.
What do you think?
I feel like offlaners are just generic stunning guys. Like
mean-
when I was looking at Thunder Predator, and I think they played recently in 2 tournaments, and they got last place in both, and then won 1 game or something like that. And then this is the team that went 5 through 6 at the Singapore major, right? But then I noticed that Frank, who's their highest rated player, he was like ranked 6 in NA as an offlaner. He's playing Centaur, Mars, stuff like that. And the guy's he's like a Beastmaster, Batrider, like cheese pick player. But that's not how the offlane really is right now. I mean, it depends on the team, depends on the meta, obviously. It's been like a month since we've seen anything, but it feels like offlane is Sand King, Centaur. You just stun for your carry.
So if we are talking a bit more in depth about the actual Dota game at the moment, then you're saying that at the moment, as far as your offlane go, you gotta go for heroes that are good with levels, because you're not gonna get any gold.
Yeah, sure. And I think teams that have offlaners that thrive under those circumstances will do better. There are some teams that will just leave their offlaner totally alone, like Undying, for example. Moon always rotates. He's always stacking. He's always picking up runes. He just leaves Saberlight there just to do his own thing. And I think that's fine if you're leaving like some Sand King, some Centaur, Venomance, or whatever.
I think there's going to be different approaches, actually. I think this is like one of the cool things about the lead up to TI, where you don't know what's going to happen. Like all these teams have been practicing in different regions, and they're scrimming different things, and they're going to come up with different ideas. And I think the group stage really, you're going to find out whose ideas were the best.
Yeah.
Group stage really is like whatever you did in this past month, you're going to find out, was this worth your time, or were you just, now you need to copy what somebody else is doing, or you need to learn from somebody else?
How much adapting do you feel like a team is doing during day 1? Like, okay, everybody comes in with a plan. Let's say I have this crazy plan and I try it once, doesn't work, but obviously I'm not going to try it just once. I want to make sure that it indeed doesn't work, so I'll try it maybe 2 or 3
What if
times.
I had this carry wisp idea or something?
Yeah,
2
like
years ago?
when do you change? Do you change after tomorrow? Do you change after today?
So I think it depends. So last year we had Core IO, which no carry player knew how to play.
And you didn't even run into it in your scrims, right?
No, we didn't know about the Core IO. I'd seen, because I watched a lot of YouTube videos of like Anna pubbing, so I knew he was playing it in unranked games, but I
What
just
is that,
assumed it's
man?
just unranked games. Yeah. No, but I think day 1 you don't really adapt too much, because there's so many games going on at once, and you're just trying to like think about your own games. You're playing 3 times in one day, so you're just focused on that. And then I think as the group stage progresses, and you get that one day between group stage and main stage, that's really the day where you come up with a lot of your ideas, and you try to like figure out like, oh, that team did this, that's really good, we should take it, and we should try to learn to do that. And I think most teams do this, where you scrim on that one off day, and you try to practice something that you want to play in your opener.
But for one of the teams on each group, it's already going to be too late by that point, Tsunami.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, 2 eliminations, and everyone is theorizing who their least favorites would be. Maybe it would be mean-spirited to say it already. We can save it for day 4 of the group
Nobody's
stage.
going to be right about that
No one's
anyway.
going to be right.
Nobody's going to be right.
What did you actually, there was one compendium prediction that I was, who do you think is going to be the most picked hero?
I think it's going to be Tiny.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
no,
heard
sorry, actually,
Tiny.
no. I think Tiny's going to be the most banned hero.
Oh.
I think
I picked both.
I think Pangolier is going to be the most picked hero, because I think Pango is good enough that he is going to get first picked.
He's going to be the replacement Tiny.
Sure, yeah. I think, they both have stuns. That helps. I think that he is a support. Like, he can be played as a support, offlane, mid. Only role he can't be played in is carry, and some crazy team could pick it as a carry. Who knows? But then also, I don't think it's good enough to be first phase banned in every game. Like,
Sure.
it's like at that perfect like golden ratio.
and it's too late to get your predictions in right now. Sorry.
Boo.
Is that- I don't think I did my game predictions.
Oh,
I
no.
didn't do my game predictions
Did you do
either.
your fantasy?
By
No,
the
that's
way,
what I mean, I
guys,
didn't
we're
do
not
those.
just talking for our own benefit. We're actually waiting
aren't?
for the game start. We have run into to some delays, but don't worry, we're here to keep you company. And once a game starts, we got you covered. We'll let you know. You can do with the information what you wish. You can stay here, but you can of course also watch on the appropriate stream where the game will be live with the commentary that is not us, which some people might prefer. No offense. But yeah, we'll keep you up to date.
I don't believe you, Sheever. I told you, I've been burned before. By this TI.
You're like,
I
it's
feel like
not
cursed.
starting?
It's just never happened.
I mean, I'll give a little bit of backstage information. You guys can't see this, but what I can see is a screen a little bit to that side of my camera, and I see 4 lobbies, and I see the players in it.
They're
So
filled.
I'm very excited because this is like, you are about to start. You just need to press that start button and we're in. And then then it's happening.
It
Because
better.
once you start, you can't stop.
It's like the astronauts climbing onto the
That's right. Walking in
space shuttle.
slow motion.
yeah back in 1969 when they went to the sun.
Oh, I thought about getting into the
believe
car
it.
when you're doing it for Squid Game. You go in, you can't stop once you're in.
No, please. There's some ideas out there of a TI where it's like Squid Game,
Let's not do that because we also want to have a
there would be a
TI-11.
next one, yeah.
We
Yes,
need a
please.
little
That
bit
would
of
be
players.
rough.
People just
Oh,
say
you're
we
being
get
on the
new
right
players.
side. Eliminate competition.
We'd be the guys in the red costumes. That's who we are as the talent.
You mean the VIPs?
No, not the VIPs. Don't
Oh,
say
the
that.
red costumes are those? Yes.
Yeah, the
I'm
soldiers.
so
I haven't
confused.
seen it
Have you
yet.
seen it? I have
No.
not
Okay.
seen the show.
Well,
I've been keeping up.
you guys
with
can
them.
binge it together tonight.
I was watching Dota, Jenkins. I
Yeah,
was
there will be
preparing
too
for
much
the
Dota to watch
international,
tonight as well.
actually.
There's gonna be so much Dota that after everybody's done here today, you can continue watching Dota for the rest of the evening with 2 streams or 2 games on your screens, and you'll still not be done before we're back here tomorrow.
Well,
That's kind of what happens. It's glorious. I love it. It's also, I think, very daunting for the players. I feel like this is where you want an analyst on your squad. Like a coach needs to help, like with the game that is actually being played, right? You
Yeah.
have the in-game, or rather the coach that makes sure that after the game you can make adjustments based on the game that just played. But I feel like you need to have an extra person looking at what everybody else is doing. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
have to go back and look at everybody else's VODs, which is
It really helps. Like
Yeah.
we have jobs,
Yeah.
and he does that for us, and it honestly alleviates the captain a lot. And I think TI is like probably one of the events where you really want to have a captain that has like a clear mindset, because there's a lot of pressure going into these games, and
Yeah.
the draft is a really, really big part. And I think having somebody that will like help you just focus on the game as much as possible is like such a big advantage. So I do think like having like a bit of an analytical coach and having the mental aspect is going to be like a pretty big factor that favors some of the teams here. Like I think OG and EG both have specific mental coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are other coaches who just focus on like, hey, I'm just going to look at Dota. And I think that's pretty big.
Or they do both jobs.
Yeah.
What do you think about like 3 coaches? Because I feel like there's enough Dota to digest at TI that there might be value, but then also maybe just having one formulated idea that you do best. Like if you're stacking or you're playing a push strat or you're playing like a turtle strat or whatever, maybe if you have 3 people to disagree, it's a little too much, but like you think like mental coach and then analytical coach is the best?
Well, there
Form
are,
for
for
a team?
example, if you take OG as an
Yeah.
example, they have Mia Stolberg again, which is the same mental coach as they had for TI9 and the same mental coach that helped Astralis and CSGO win multiple majors in a row. Then they have Sakshka, who is now the assistant coach, and they have Misha, who's now the head coach. So there's a very clear hierarchy there too, and you feel like that's like the ideal scenario there?
I think it's really, really smart, because you're going to have Sox just look up info, and he's going to find whatever Misha needs in order to like, give the information that he wants. He's like, I have an idea. And then Sox will go look it up. He'll look at the teams, and then he'll give Misha the info. He's like, Misha's like, yeah, this makes sense with my ideas. And then, you just present that to the team, and you have like everything ready, instead of like having an idea, stop watching the games, go try to figure out if it works, and then suddenly you've missed out on half the meta and you don't know what's happening.
I think that's too many cooks in the kitchen. I like
think so?
that.
You
think
I like
so?
how everyone gets mad at Alliance for having a coach last season, and they're like, fine, no coach. No coach at TI.
Isn't
this
that
thing will
mad
not
though?
leave you alone.
No
Oh, yes,
coach
it's
at
terrifying.
TI.
I mean, S4 is a watermelon-sized brain, so I imagine that he has.
He needs it.
He takes that one day off. He crams all the replays, and F&G probably does. I mean, the whole team probably helps, but not having a coach is an intimidating prospect.
I think it's interesting to note though, they have 3 captains on that team.
Yeah.
Hanskin's been a captain, F&G's been a captain, and S4 as well. So maybe they feel like they don't need more ideas. Like they have enough ideas, and for whatever reason, they don't think that coach is like, whoever it is hasn't been a good fit, or they don't think it adds anything to their team. And maybe, like you said, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen.
I was gonna say, okay, this is gonna sound like some BuzzFeed stuff, all right? But I heard that Google tried hiring people randomly rather than doing their normal hiring process. And like I said, this is
Define randomly.
I literally at random.
Like
You search
okay,
something on
names of
Google, and then you get hired.
you
all
walk
right,
up to someone on the street, it's
that
like,
guy.
hey,
I did not
let's
click
go.
to the link on the thread in Reddit, so don't take my word for it. However, I believe it. It was a very confident Redditor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
And so, here's what I'm saying. Maybe in a chaotic environment such as the International, having no coach and just saying, screw it, we'll just do our own thing, that might actually work out for you, because then you're just playing Dota. Everybody else is doing this mental stuff, therapy, whatever. We're just gonna play.
You know, I think there is actually a really good point in there, because if you have no
Thank you.
coach, you are forced to stick to your guns, because you can't adjust that much, right?
Sure.
But it does mean that if you don't have the right idea about Dota coming into the tournament, you're done for. Like there's no adapting, or rather very limited adapting, right?
It's more difficult. It's just you're putting more on the players, I think. I think there is something to say about, like, yeah, you don't have a coach, so like maybe in some ways, hey, there's less pressure on us. We're not taking it as seriously as everybody else. We're not hiring a bunch of people. But I think genuinely think that's probably just a disadvantage.
You think so? Just a straight disadvantage?
Yes,
It
I
was
think
just
so.
a theory.
I mean,
Telling me just
a
random
theory.
people
Yeah,
on the
I think
street
it's-
thing isn't gonna work.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Part of me just feels like the random people off the street probably is not the play.
And we don't
don't-
know where they got the randoms. Maybe they were randoms that already applied for the job, but just they didn't look at
No,
the
it
resume.
wasn't
No, it's
random
just
people from the street
No,
for
I
the
think it
Google
was.
thing.
That was
It
like, that
people
guy
who-
right there, you
people
work
who
on Chrome.
applied.
No,
was
it's just
people who
if
applied.
you Google
Yeah.
something, you might get hired.
They're not just walking. Is that you want to work at Google? They're not doing that.
No, you're just Googling something at
You
home,
wanna
and
win
then
an
it's like,
agency.
Yeah, you Googled something, and we
like
are
you've
very
been
impressed
hired.
with your search engine skills.
You play Dota, why not come coach us?
Yeah.
Actually, you at home can participate.
Hey.
We have the crowd functionality now.
We do.
For this TI.
Hashtag TI10.
Hashtag TI10.
Also, you mentioned something,
I did.
and coach of SG. And let's see if you did your homework. Coach of SG.
Mangusu?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you think he got to be coach?
I don't know, actually.
I will
he's
tell you.
Romanian.
He's Romanian.
Yeah.
And I, of course, because I also couldn't find anything, because there's no information about this guy. So I actually went to SG and was like, who is this guy? And I got a whole bunch of texts that Mangusu actually wrote.
Okay.
This guy tried professional Dota for a little bit, as people do, not too successful, and then at some point started doing some coaching one-on-one just with people that want to be coached, and at some point coached D2 Bowie on his stream.
Okay.
And then at some point did some replay analysis, and he decided, you know what, I'm just going to do some replay analysis, just creating content of SG's games.
Okay.
And SG got the word of that, and is like, hey, that's kind of cool, and we
Wow.
like your way of thinking about Dota.
You get how the Brazilians think.
Yeah, and then
That's cool.
yeah, that's literally how he got to be a coach for SG, and now he's here. He's at TI.
So you're saying like content creation can eventually result in somebody coaching a tier.
unbelievably enough, being a caster /
tier 1
analyst
team.
can lead to coaching a.
So if a tier 1 team was interested
It could
in a content creator.
being a
Yeah, if
caster.
there were any tier 1 teams here,
I see. Yes, of course.
maybe in the arena we could go ask them.
Relax, dude.
Lest we forget that Seb had an origin story as a caster for a while as well, or an analyst.
Player,
Player.
caster, coach, player, double TI winner.
He ran the gauntlet.
This is
He's
the
done
start right
everything.
here.
I'm trying.
Are you going to coach next season?
We'll see if we keep William.
He's on a very short leash right now.
But I mean, not kidding. I mean, the commentators and the analysts, they talk about Dota in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that when a player hears that, you either like it or you don't,
They're
right?
very impressed
Because
usually,
everybody
yeah.
is having a different way of thinking about the
Yeah.
game. And if you like somebody's ways of thinking about the game, then you're more likely to want to chat with them about Dota, and at some point that could potentially lead.
Of course, and I think one of the cool things that commentators or analysts get to do is they get to watch a lot of Dota, and you're not as biased by like pub games as maybe we are as pros, because you play these pubs and when you win, you feel good. And I'm sure everybody at home watching feels this too. Like when you win with a hero, you're like, yeah, this hero's nice. I like this hero. I want to play it more. But when you're just watching games as a caster, you get a different perspective on the game, where it's much more objective, I think, because you're not in the picture yourself. And I think for a coach, that's literally what you're doing. You want to like remove yourself from the situation, look at it objectively, and be like, hey, this is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you genuinely have an edge when you're casting or being an analyst. And I think someone like Seb probably has gotten some advantage from doing that in the past.
That is a question that I've always wondered is like, I mean, obviously there's not much of a clear answer to it, but how much does, let's say you're playing in like 9K MMR or something like that. Let's say you're playing unranked, right? You're playing in all of your scrims, but then you're playing like a crap load of unranked. You're playing with your friends. They're terrible. Maybe you're queuing with Tsunami or something like that. And, so you're playing in this lower bracket, maybe you're playing solo queue or something like that. There's no communication. Like,
Sure.
how can it degrade your skill, do you think, to play in pubs all day, every day? Is there too much? Or is it like better to play unranked? That's another question, because you're communicating at least, but maybe it's with worse players. It's tough.
I think a lot of Dota is just habits, right? And the habits that you build. And I think if you exclusively play lower ranked games as a pro player, then I think you will eventually get into the habit of thinking that you can get away with a lot of stuff that you get away with.
Yeah, you underestimate your opponent.
Precisely. And then if there's like a decent amount of both, then that's probably not going to cause you to have any bad habits. But if it's the only thing that you're doing, you're exclusively playing with Tsunami, then yeah, you're probably going to run into issues.
I'm catching strays like this.
I am
Panel
so
number
happy
one,
you
Aiden.
are taken as an example rather than me.
Sheever, what's your voice line again? What's the voice line that you have in the game?
It's great.
He's
What-
pretty
what-
high rated,
great.
actually.
Ravage?
He's
Well,
not, he's not bad.
I found out it was 9 years ago. There's a lot of people that don't even know what that is.
That's true.
So
We have had
I'm
to-
safe.
Is the Sheever Ravage when you hit 5 heroes with a Ravage?
Yes, that's exactly
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
5 of your allied
Thank you.
heroes.
Very nice.
0 of the enemy.
Yeah, 0. Preferably with the countdown.
What does that mean?
You've not seen the
I don't
clip.
know the Sheever
Okay,
Ravage.
I will tell you. I was in a pub, and it was a party ranked, unranked. Oh, so party queue unranked.
Yeah.
I was in a queue with Sing Sing, Shokshka, Puppy, someone else who I forgot. Doesn't matter. I was playing Tidehunter. It was 7 a.m. in the morning on on a Tuesday morning after playing the whole night because
You didn't have any coffee.
didn't have any coffee.
Very, very reasonable.
Yeah.
Your shoelaces were untied.
Anything?
I didn't wear shoes even.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the
no
worst.
shoes.
Can't play Dota without
No
shoes.
shoes.
Can't
no
play
Dota,
Dota,
that's
and
what they
then
say.
obviously I'm the worst there, right? It's not even close. It's by a mile. I'm the worst, and I was playing Tidehunter, and I have a big impact. I have a Ravage. You got to use it, and oftentimes I either was too late or too early, or I didn't use it in the fight, and then there was Sing Sing or Puppy saying, "Come on, use your Ravage, please. You should have used it there," and then either it was on cooldown or not. It was terrible. There was a lot of pressure on me, especially at 7 a.m., and I at that point was just spamming Tidehunter. And Stokska constantly at some point realized that it was triggering me, like, Sheever, Ravage, with this pressure. It was like constant. And at some point, there's one fight that, made it the Sheever Ravage. I was fed up. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna use this Ravage and it's gonna come off cooldown. So it was counting down. And it was in a team fight. And I finally, I was counting, it's off cooldown, and I run in, and it's like 3, 2, 1, and I Ravage, but at the moment that I Ravage, everybody already ran away. It was interesting, and obviously Sing Sing was streaming as well, so
That's-
great
it was
reaction.
immortalized.
That's a great voice line. You
It
can
is.
It
use
was
it
then,
to
it was-
describe
it
a lot
was-
of situations that you run into in your
Yes, I
pubs.
mean, the Loda Sphere.
Oh,
Yes.
that's classic.
I am.
There was
PGG Black Hole.
PGG Black Hole. Who
course.
had the Echo Slam? Someone had the Slam.
I think it's a common thing.
No, there was
does
one person
attribute
had a Echo Slam missing because he didn't blink before. I know the
There's
game
an
because
iconic one.
it was a dire side high ground defense. I don't know who was playing it.
I remember Sashka Borstun. That's another
Yes,
one.
I know the Borstan indeed.
That one's great.
Yeah, that was
the
good.
Malk Award.
Malk Award.
There's the
winning the game while still
1 in
0-20.
1 in 20,
One-
0-20.
0-20, no kills.
And then there was the age. We're just getting into the biggest fails in Dota at this point.
I mean,
Yes.
it's TI-10.
Yeah,
it's
sure,
a
sure.
celebration.
Yes.
It is,
of
of
all
course.
10
of
years of
course.
our history.
Of course, this is history. What was the Aegis Deny?
KYXY.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was legendary.
painful.
Yeah, and then they ended up losing,
Wasn't-
right? It was orange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would have very likely won that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really
And
did.
I think it was that game that made them add the text that says X has denied the Aegis.
Yeah, so you know
Yeah.
No one knew
who's,
initially. and
who's
they were like,
guilty.
"What?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
That just, that's an argument against A-clicking right there.
That is
A-clicking
true.
a legacy.
I do
Feature.
that still. It's very scary.
Insania, you have right side mini map.
I misclick things.
Do you have right side
sometimes.
minimap?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
I
really?
think I'm the only one that does.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's a hunting, right?
No, it's not actually. A lot
What?
of people think they ask me if I'm from the other game,
League of Legends.
the one that we
you can
should not-
mention it.
Oh, we can say it.
Yeah, yes, you can.
I thought
I
it gives
think
it
so.
power if we say its
I
name.
think so.
Yeah, so they assume I'm from that game.
Ah.
I don't know the name of it.
How
That
did you
one,
How
yeah.
did you start working with that? Like, how did you?
So, I played Guild Wars before I started
Okay.
playing Dota, and Guild Wars had the minimap in the top right.
Yeah.
So when I could choose like bottom right, oh no, in Han I could choose bottom left or bottom right. Bottom right seemed more natural to me.
Sure, because you're already used to looking to the right
Yeah,
side anyway.
so that was like
Yeah.
the way I got into it, and then I just kept it forever, and now everyone that watches my stream gets annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like
your whole team does all sorts of, like they were gonna remove the unit query panel thing.
right.
But then two of your teammates were like, bro, we're about to play TI, and we
Yeah.
use that thing all the time. And now every single time I watch, is it Boxy or?
Boxy and
yeah,
Taiga
Boxy
both
and
play
Taiga.
with a like pop up on the side.
Oh, that one. Well,
Yeah.
technically that's better because you can keep your hero selected
is.
while
if you're
highlighting.
used to it, it gives you way more information.
It does, yeah.
It has a lot of buggy interactions.
Yeah,
to
it doesn't show
you
neutral
can't see
items,
neutral
I
items,
don't- yeah.
but the benefit is you can see when people place wards and fog.
Right,
the
'cause you
thing
see it
stays
goes
up,
down in a count.
and then you can see like the ward disappear from their inventory.
Yeah.
And honestly, right side minimap is also theoretically better because
I've
you're
heard
never
that.
really clicking down to the bottom right. If you're Radiant, then if you're leaving, you're trying to retreat, you're gonna click bottom left. You might misclick your minimap.
Isn't it the same? Is depending on which way you go.
No, but
Well,
Dyer's top
No,
no,
because
right.
you never
because you're
click the bottom
always-
right.
Yeah, so you're either you're clicking bottom left or top right.
I've
So-
heard this too, but I don't. I think like at the end of the day, if you're more used to playing with it on the left, you're probably not misclicking it that much.
Yeah,
misclicking I think is like something that doesn't really happen outside of TI main stage,
Best of ones.
best of ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's fun.
That was not necessarily misclick. That was just a time thing, right? Because the button stays at the same location. It did then. It got changed since. No.
Has it?
Well, it did on the normal pitch
I'm
screen
very
now.
aware now of the
Yes.
timer. I take an extra look at the timer every single game I play. When I'm about to pick my hero, I'm just like, all right, let's just 1 second. Yeah.
You never
we're
get
on
that
picking.
-2 gold, -2 gold, -2 gold. You're always.
It doesn't happen in pro games, unfortunately.
No, that's
we keep
true.
our gold, but then you just pick a random hero.
Luck of the draw.
All right, here's a question. Hero icons or the little arrows?
Little arrows.
Little
sure.
arrows.
I have hero icons.
Arrows
What is
and
wrong
crosses.
with
So
you,
do I.
Aiden?
So do
Why?
I.
No,
Why?
okay.
Because okay, go for it.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna have the same justification. If you see someone on your team retreating,
Yeah.
you can't tell based off of their picture, but the orientation of the arrow, you can see if they're going this way,
So-
they're going away. If
Yeah.
they're facing this way,
Let me
going
tell
in.
you, I watch my minimap so many times per second. I will see in what direction the icon is moving.
But when a
You have
person
that
is
spatial awareness.
so
Yes.
when a person is using, when you have the arrow, you actually see this thing spin around.
Is that what you expected?
Okay, I don't know if that has
me-
any
to me-
gameplay benefit. That just sounds
On
like
top
an
of
aesthetic
that,
thing, but
it's just easier because some of the portraits really don't look very good.
this
And
num-
at the hero, like they don't have the.
You're
can't
not-
see
you
it.
are
none
not
of us
selling it.
did not have the same justification. on
And
this one,
otherwise, you
Sheever.
just have colors. It's easier. It's more manageable. It's less clutter on my minimap. It's clean.
I have there's a psychology test, also something I clicked on Reddit for 5 seconds, where they have have you seen the thing where the colors come up and you have to say the word, so it'll be orange, but it'll be colored red, and so it'll be like, say the actual word that you're
Okay.
reading, and then you always get it wrong, you accidentally say the color.
Sure.
Our brain is not good at linking colors to things quickly. And so a lot of the time people will see an arrow that's like a Dota color, and then you won't properly process what color it even was. You're like, I saw somebody there. Often people who use the arrows say, I saw somebody there, and they won't know who it was.
Yeah.
But the hero icons, that's not a problem. But you're right, you can't see the face and direction. That is a
I
problem.
usually
But
memorize whichever color I need to be afraid of. If I'm like, oh, I don't see yellow on the minimap.
I just
Sure,
think it's
okay.
one
X
extra
isn't
step.
there.
It's like quick cast, right?
Fine. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, I think it's a thing of the past. The
Yeah.
colors, like,
I think,
think it's-
I'm not sure. Okay, homework time. Did anybody read the in-game instructions that our observer sent?
no.
Because
We're not
what are
I
they?
can't-
What
I
are
can't
we
handle
using?
this.
What are we using?
yes,
What do you mean? What are
Yes.
we using?
yes.
Are we using the portraits or the arrows and the?
The
colors?
I know the
minimap's gonna
answer
be
to
We
her
use arrows
question.
always.
The minimap's
Yeah.
going to be on the right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna get used
We're
to that.
doing colorblind mode for everything.
I've
do.
heard some arguments for that. I don't remember what
Wait,
they
are you
are.
actually colorblind, or do you just
Yeah,
like?
I'm
Oh,
genuinely
okay. Because
colorblind,
I
yeah.
know your stream has it, but I didn't know if it was a
No, I am genuinely colorblind.
red green or what?
Red, green, yeah. Red, green, and brown, actually.
Do you?
So we're in a green screen right now. What do you see, huh?
Yeah,
It's
what do
all
you see?
red.
I knew it.
Now, what do you see?
It's just black and white. The entire world is just black and white.
He's a dog, Sheever.
That's not true. Don't put dogs down like
Yeah,
that. That's a
true.
lie.
It's not.
That's a
I'm
lie in a farce.
propagating the myth.
No, it's certain tones of green and certain tones of red kind of blend. Like I would
Okay.
call a certain tone of green red, and you'd be, it's clearly green.
Okay.
But to me, it looks red.
okay.
And especially when they're next to each other. That's like when it's the worst.
Yes.
So with the health
especially when it's
bars,
in a game
yeah.
when
So having the blue is like much nicer for me.
it's easier.
So then
Yeah.
you couldn't tell strength and agi treads very easily otherwise?
No, I can,
Oh, okay.
but I'm used to it now. I've seen those specific ones so much that it's not a problem. But generally speaking, sometimes some tones of red and some tones of green mesh.
What there's I can't I'm trying so hard to remember, but sometimes your brain just doesn't, compute things.
I'm familiar.
90 IQ and so forth going on. There are actual benefits to using colorblind mode that aren't just for colorblind people. It's something with like the HP bars, but I don't remember exactly what. There was a Reddit post
They're
too.
blue. Does that change?
They're
anything?
blue. It's something about them being blue. I don't remember what exactly it is. I thought maybe you would know because you use colorblind mode, but maybe not. But there are some things, there are some settings in the game that are not popular yet. They're not mainstream, but they are mathematically better. WASD, for example, this was Aoi that initially told me this. There's a few carry players that use WASD because you can, as your camera is moving, you can move the mouse to cast a spell. Because with every other form of camera movement, your mouse is locked somewhere, either
Yeah.
to the edge of the screen or to a certain position with the camera.
Isn't
grip.
it Matuma Man
Yeah,
that
he
is
does.
using arrow keys
Yeah.
to move, and he literally will let go of his mouse
Yeah, so
to move and back to the mouse?
So Limp does this really interesting thing. At least he used to do it back in Heroes of New Earth, where he
always
uses
coarse.
he uses mouse to move the thing.
Yeah.
And then he'll move his left hand over to the arrows, move his mouse where he wants it, and then move back to like cast spells. He'll use both edge pan and the mouse wheels, and he would like click his
Isn't that-
camera.
Wouldn't you say that's a little bit of a handicap?
I don't know.
Like, obviously
it
it
worked
works
for him,
for him.
obviously.
Obviously
yeah.
it
Rank
works for him.
5, so I don't
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works for him, but wouldn't you say then that he's going to be even better
He might
if
win
he
a
was
TI.
used to...
He might just like insta win every.
But
the
imagine
next-
how good he would be if he used the normal way.
Yeah,
No,
so
but I just think
might
he uses
Scary.
whatever he wants in that
Yes.
given moment. Like if he needs to use his mouse, then he uses the arrows. If he needs
Yeah,
to,
totally instinct. Totally.
I think so.
I gotta
genuinely
ask
think
you a
so.
goddamn
Yeah.
question because I've looked at your replays. Okay, I'm learning how to play Ogre Magi because this is a very
Okay.
difficult hero, and your camera goes crazy.
no,
What is going on with that?
I just like to be aware of everything that's happening in the game.
Are
and I
you-
think it was worse. Like when I was younger, I did it a lot more than I do now.
Okay,
Yeah.
that doesn't explain it because it's like somebody should send you a doctor with what's going on with your hand, that there's a problem there.
No, he's just absorbing as much
just-
information as
I
possible.
I think when you're a captain, you're just a little bit of a psychopath. You just want to know everything that's going on so that you can you have everything ready after the game. Like this, and this is why we lost. And I know because I watched it all happen.
And because I was thinking, and I don't remember who said this, it might have been BSJ or somebody. People are saying it's because you don't want people to know, you don't want people to watch your player perspective, and so you're making it intentionally hard. That's how bad it. And I watch your replay, so obviously I'm trying to learn something. Lots of respect there, but people are saying that you're trying to make it so that they can't watch it. So it's like vomit-inducing. That's how crazy your camera is.
I've never heard this before.
What DPI do you play with?
400.
400?
I have like 500 or 400.
Oh
it's
my
super
God.
low. My mouse doesn't move. If you look, my mouse is like only in the middle of my screen.
What about your camera acceleration?
Normal.
Normal? So it's
I just
not...
click on the minimap.
Okay. Yeah, you do this all around. You seriously?
So I actually play with, you know these like drawing pens? Yeah, that's what I play
That's
with.
what Jarek has been doing.
I've been,
yeah, that's
I've been
really
using
cool,
the...
actually.
He
The
retired from
joystick.
Dota, was like, all right, tablet, that's what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
I'm going to play games with the tablet, and now OG needs to figure out a way to win without him.
Yeah, and now we still need to watch some Dota, which, by the way, Tsunami is he's sweating
Sheever,
more
you're
and
on
more.
thin ice.
Yeah, because we are still, of course, waiting for the games to start. Don't worry, we won't let the games start without you noticing it. None of the games have begun just yet. Still some issues that we are trying to get fixed. But if you've just joined us because you figured, hey, by now the game should be going on, hello, it's not the case yet, but we will catch you up on what will happen today. So we can take a look at the schedule once more to just give you a little bit of an overview of all the games that will happen today, one way or another. We're gonna start off this stream actually once it's live with EG versus Aster, and we're gonna have 5 streams in total. This is of course one of the streams, but then we're gonna have 4 different streams, stream A, B, C, and D, all with 5 series of 2 games being played. And I mean, we're just gonna go over it real quick once again. Tsunami Stream B is gonna have some exciting stuff coming up today. We didn't actually talk about Elephant and Fnatic,
No.
which I think is gonna be a very exciting series as well.
Yeah, because Fnatic had a less than stellar DPC Southeast Asia, and they were bouncing around with their roster as they were shifting players around. They ended up bringing in Death, who had a pretty impressive performance at the Singapore Major as a stand-in. And
Hell yeah.
Elephant, I have been extremely critical of, because it's a team of superstars that kind of do bad a lot. And so both of these teams I have had low expectations for throughout the DPC. But now, Aiden, like a lot of people are considering Elephant to be good, and not just like good in China, but like a contender at this TI. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
I mean, I think in general, when you get to big stages, you're gonna look at the big names. Like,
Yeah.
these are the guys that have been here before, they have performed here before. And I think this TI, more than any TI, there's a pretty clear distinction between the teams that have very, very experienced players that have done well at LANs, and then the teams that are just brand new, more or less. Or like, especially when it comes to LAN experience. And I think the 2 years leading up is a big part of, like a big reason for that. It's been so much online gameplay. And I think like that's why teams like Elephant gain popularity when, you know, it's TI time. Who are you gonna look for? You're gonna look at FY.
Yeah.
You're gonna look at Yang,
Yeah.
Paparazzi or Eurus, whatever he prefers. Somnus maybe. Like these guys have proven that they're good players at TI.
Yep, they can perform under pressure, and it's going to be very important for them to do that this time around as well. There is a lot of pressure on all the players here. We got a lot of first-timers, so we're going to see how they do deal with that pressure, by the way. Last TI, 25 first-timers. This TI, 39. That's a big increase right there, and I believe that is excluding coaches even. So it's because there's so much less European teams and so many more
so,
SA
yeah.
teams. Yeah, so
every single time Liquid or Nigma was also
Yeah.
5 players that had been to 1,000 TIs at that point.
Exactly.
And so that's excluded 3 South American teams, like we mentioned.
Like half of them are TI winners too.
yes.
Yeah, also true. So yeah, the lack of European teams has brought in a lot of new blood, and then North America also. Like Undying, Moon Meanders played a TI,
Dubu shut up with MVP.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's just those 2, right?
Yep. Saberlight, nothing. Brown, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Tomato not played at TI?
Tomato has.
He's definitely played like DPC events. Like
Yes.
majors,
Yes. He's
majors,
been at
minors.
events, but he's not
Before
been to it. He's
this
not
year's
played at a
DPC.
TI, I believe. But I can look it up on my notebook if you want. But at the moment, I mean, everybody knows we're still waiting for the games to start, and we have been waiting for a little while. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but we are going to take a short break, and when we're back, we will have the issues fixed, and we'll be back with some Dota games. So we're gonna let you get a moment to yourself to make sure you still can get your snacks or get some coffee and tea.
Sheever, I swear to God. if this
It
TI does
will
not
happen. It will happen.
I am.
It will happen. We will get this International 10 underway, I promise. But it will happen after this.